This is Tubbo versus Ludwig. It was played in January 2021 Block Champs tournament, not to be confused with Pog Champs, but this was hosted by Alexander Botez, one of the Botez sisters, the people who blow under their queens all the time. It starts off with d4 by Tubbo, who's playing white. We have d5 and knight to c3, attacking this pawn immediately, but it's already defended by the queen, so Ludwig doesn't really have to do anything. He still defends it again with the knight to be safe, and Tubbo plays e3. We have knight to c6 now, just developing the knights, and now we have bishop d3, which is normally not what you want to do when you're a beginner. Normally you want to develop the knights before bishops, but it doesn't make a big difference. We have e5 here by Ludwig, striking in the center and creating some tension on these pawns. I don't think it's good to take here because you really open up your queen, but you also let him develop, and we'll see what Tubbo does. He just develops normally. If Ludwig were to take, he'd probably take back with the knight, and he'd have a really good position. We have pawn forwards, and Tubbo plays bishop b5, pinning the knight to the king, and now we have pawn attacking the bishop, and the bishop drops back, keeping this pin on the knight, and now we have b5 by Ludwig, attacking the bishop. The bishop's forced back or you lose it, and now we have pawn forwards attacking this knight now, and Tubbo finds an amazing move, which isn't the best move. Knight a4 is the best by the computer, but I love this move by Tubbo, pinning the knight to the king, and now that there's no defender on it, you actually have the idea of forking the king and the rook. So Ludwig can't take here or he gets forked and he pretty much loses the game, so he has to defend the knight because he's already attacking this, so he should be better because he's attacking the knight and he's defended. So if he were to defend, he takes, we take back, you're still attacking, you have to move the knight somewhere like a4, and you're doing pretty well by Ludwig, but he completely blunders and takes the knight immediately. Now, Tubbo plays the move where he forks the king and the rook, and this should be completely winning now because he's up the exchange. However, Tubbo is only 946 and Ludwig is 1134. So Ludwig is probably a bit better. Tubbo takes back the pawn with the knight. Good development. He still needs to figure out how to develop this bishop because he kind of locked it in with this pawn. And we have bishop attacking the queen by Ludwig. Knight drops back to where it was. Isn't my favorite moves because it's just going back and forth. I don't know what else he'd do. There, maybe pawn f3 maybe. I'll see what the computer says. Yeah, queen d2. That's what I was thinking. And pawn f3. Knight e2 is better than pawn f3, but I still like not moving your knight back and forth a couple times, especially when you're better. We have bishop check and c3 now, attacking the bishop. Bishop drops back, and this is a big mistake now. This is a fork, and there is nothing you can do about it. Tubbo doesn't see the fork. However, he does attack the bishop, and the bishop drops back, and now he castles, and he should just be playing for long game because he's up so much material that it should be winning, right? He has an extra pawn, and he's up the exchange, so he should just be winning this game pretty cleanly. We have queen to b8 now, and h3 attacking the bishop. Bishop drops back, and he finally finds the move, queen to a4, check. It's not a fork on the bishop anymore, but it is a fork on the pawn, so he does win that pawn, but he doesn't even take it. He does a danger levels and attacks this bishop first. So he's attacking the bishop, he's attacking the pawn, so he has a couple threats here, and Ludwig can't defend everything. He moves his bishop back and gets his pawn taken. We have pawn to c6 now, and that is not the right idea, and Tubbo doesn't play the right idea either, but bishop a3 at least finally develops his bishop, and he can push this pawn forwards, although it would probably sacrifice the pawn. You get your bishop in the game, you can move your rooks over, and you should be winning. We have castles by Ludwig, running away from the threat of the queen. He pushes the pawn forwards. He's attacking here, so it's not really a pawn sack because if you take the pawn here, you're losing your rook for the bishop, and then you're just down like two pieces, or two rooks for like pieces. You have bishops for rooks. That's exactly what it would be if you took the pawn back. And Ludwig doesn't look one move ahead, takes the pawn back, so he takes the bishop back with the knight, and now they have knight each, and rook for bishop, queens, and Tubbo is up a pawn. So he's up 2 exchanges and a pawn. He plays a4, trying to get his rooks in the game. Does it successfully. He has a rook on a4. Ludwig tries to create some counterplay on this side of the board to attack the king. We have h5. Now we have c4 by Tubbo, opening up even more with the pawns. If he were to take back, I think he'd probably take back with the queen here. It looks pretty nice. He doesn't take, though. He attacks the knight, and he just pushes. He creates danger levels. If Ludwig were to take, he just takes back with the pawn, maybe even with the queen, trying to trade off queens. Ludwig does take, and he takes back with the queen. Now we have queen to e8, attacking this rook really stealthily. It looks like it doesn't do anything, but it does attack the rook, but also it doesn't do much. It literally is a terrible move. I'd way rather something like this, and you like try to jump your queen in somewhere. I don't know where you'd put it, but it'd be way better than just attacking the rook. And he doesn't even hang the rook. He saves the rook. The knight jumps in to attack the queen. We have this rook pin on the queen. We have queen takes, rook takes, and now Ludwig has to run away because he's in check. He cannot take the queen. Now the queen saves itself, attacking the knight. We have bishop dropping back to defend the knight. Queen takes the pawn. Pawn goes forwards, and there's nothing that Ludwig can do. It's checkmate in 4. Pause to try to find it. Here's what happens. King h6, rook g8 check, and that was not the right move. He was supposed to play here, but it's still checkmate very soon, and Ludwig drops checkmate in 1. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.